Hello and welcome to Music Ranking. In this video we're going to be ranking the Beatles discography from the very first LP, that being Please Please Me, all the way to the very end, of which is Let It Be. Let's start with their very first album, that being Please Please Me. This album, for me, is a great listen, and the history behind it fascinates me, as it was recorded in one day. Some of the songs on this album really astound me writing wise, and the talent they display, but this is the beginning and their talent blooms over the years. And for that, I rank it at number 11. Favourite tracks are I Saw Her Standing There, Please Please Me and Twist and Shout. Next is With the Beatles, which came out 6 months just after their first LP, but they sound approved upon, and whilst I enjoy the covers on the album somewhat more than their originals, it just shows how great of a band they are. For that reasoning, I'm giving it to number 10. Favourite tracks are Money, It Won't Be Long and Please Mr. Postman. Next is A Hard Day's Night, which is an album I do like, but not as a whole, as after a while the love songs feel blended together and become somewhat tiring, but respect is always given to this album, as it was their first LP to have no covers, which I'm pretty sure no other band does until at least 1965, maybe early 1966. Ranking wise, I'm going to have to give it to number 12. Favourite tracks though are Should Have Known Better, Things We've Said Today and You Can't Do That. Next is Beatles for Sale, which at the time of release got somewhat of a slagging, but I really enjoyed this album as they took a new perspective on love and it was interesting to hear. But this has got my least favourite cover of all time, that being Honey Don't. For all those reasons, I'm giving it number 8. Favourite tracks are Babies in Black, 8 Days a Week and Words of Love. Next LP is Help, and it's their last album to feature covers of other artists, and this album has some really great songs, from the title track itself to Paul McCartney's masterpiece Yesterday. But the album has some weaker tracks which hold it back, at least in my opinion, and the album should have ended on Yesterday, but they added Dizzy Miss Lizzy on as the last track, which personally bothers me, so for that I rank it at number 9. Favourite tracks are You've Got to Hide Your Love Away, It's Only Love, and of course, Yesterday. Next is Rubber Soul, an absolute beauty of an album from the beginning. Only one song in my opinion holding it back, that being What Goes On. The guitar riff sounds somewhat clumsy to me, but apart from that, a great album, and I rank it at number 2. Favourite tracks are Norwegian Wood, In My Life, and Run For Your Life. Next is Revolver, and honestly this album was so fucking good, there's not one track I think is bad. It's a shame it got overlooked at the time due to the Christ comparison, but overall I rank it at number 1. Favourite tracks are Eleanor Rigby, Yellow Submarine and Tomorrow Never Knows. The next album, Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band, to me is a tad overrated, as whilst I really do enjoy some of these tracks, I think some really let the album down, such as Within or Without You, which lyrically I love, but instrumentally got tiresome quite quick. And then there's tracks that are okay, but ranking them really takes the album down, such as When I'm 64 and Fixing a Hole. For those reasons alone, I rank it at number 7. My favourite tracks are Benefit of Mr. Kite, Lovely Rita and A Day in the Life. Next is Magical Mystery Tour, which honestly is the only soundtrack album with no skips whatsoever. Whilst only 7 tracks, unless you include the additional 4 the US added, it's still a great project to listen to. Ranking wise, it's at number 6 for me. Favourite tracks are The Fool on the Hill, Your Mother Should Know, and I'm the Walrus. Next is the White Album, which as a whole is a great project with certain songs that if removed would be their best project of all time. But such songs as Rocky Raccoon, Revolution 9, Martha My Dear, Why Don't We Do It in the Road, I Will, Wild Honey Pie. Not to say they're all bad, but I feel if removed and added to something else, the album would be so much better. But because it isn't, it's ranked as number 5 on my list. Favourite tracks from side A and side B are Obla Di Obla Da, Happiness is a Warm Gun, and I'm So Tired. And for side C and D, Everybody's Got Something to Hide Except for Me and My Monkey, Sexy Sadie, and Cry Baby Cry. On to the next project, that being Yellow Submarine. Now, if it just released the 4 tracks that haven't been heard, then I'd maybe rank it higher, but because it's added Yellow Submarine and All You Need Is Love, and side B consists of instrumentals, it feels somewhat of a cash grab, and the fact it's called an album yet Magical Mystery Tour isn't, somewhat insulting. And personal opinion, I rank it at number 13 on my list, but the new tracks are great. My favourites are Hey Bulldog, All Together Now, and It's All Too Much. Next is Abbey Road, which is a great project and shows the Beatles creating a beautiful medley to the end of the album, and the album shows how great a songwriter George is, how great a drummer Ringo is, and how creative they are together. Ranking wise, it goes to number 4. Favourites of this album are Maxwell's Silver Hammer, Here Comes the Sun, and She Came Through the Bathroom Window. Up next is Let It Be. Whilst it wasn't recorded last, it was the last of the release of the Beatles, and honestly it was a great project. People complain as it wasn't mixed by George Martin but Phil Spector, but Phil did deserve so much respect, as it is a mess from the start, and he took that mess and created the beauty of an album which has great amount of songs and Lennon's return to songwriting, which seems to be missing from the last album. For those reasonings, I rank it at number 3. My favourite tracks are Two of Us, Across the Universe, and I've Got a Feeling. So yeah, those are my rankings. Next artist, I'll be doing the Tyler the Creator discography.